Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with another crowdfunding preview. And what we're talking about today is the first expansion to one of my favorites, Land vs. Sea from Good Games Publishing, and the expansion being called Uncharted. And what you see out here is a representation of everything that comes in the box. You'll see here the size of the box right there. And what you're looking at is exactly what you'll see in the final version from the crowdfunding campaign, though I do not have any kind of insert in the box, obviously, and I don't have any of the other add-ons that you can purchase, but this is basically what you will see if you back this expansion campaign. And thank you to Good Games Publishing for sending me this copy so I can make this video. Now, before I get started, what this game is, this is a tile-laying game where you are making patterns of islands and seas, though of course what I have here is breaking all the rules. And as you're going through, there's a variety of different scoring layers that you can add. From the basic, you just get points for creating the islands or the seas, all the way up to another 5 different layers you can add. And I'm not going to go through right now and reteach the game. I will link down in the description my original video, and you can check that out to learn how to play the base game. And there will also eventually be, though it may even be ready right now, a 2-player playthrough on my channel incorporating all of the new stuff in this expansion. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I just want to talk about what the new things are. So the first thing is you have 2 different tiles to represent the starting tiles instead of just the original single tile here. And as I zoom down, you can see they are both double-sided, and you have your choice of what you're going to use. And I'll just start out with this one right here. And that's going to illustrate the second thing that I want to talk about, and that is right here, the cities. Now, the way the cities work is as you play through and you are creating your lands or seas, so very quickly I will just do this like so. And as you can see, I've now created a small sea here. Normally, this would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then whoever placed the final tile would get these 2 points here. We'll pretend that was me, so I would get 7 points for that sea normally. However, with the city being connected to this sea, all of the x's become doubled, so now this is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. The other thing the cities do is when you get to the end of the game, they double the scoring for all of the trade routes that are out there. So, for example, at the end of the game, let's say this was set up at the very end. So normally at the end of the game, this here would give the C player 1, 2 points. However, because it's connected to a city tile, they are doubled, so now the C player would get 2, 4 points. I will also point out that if you're playing a 4-player game, i.e. the team game, and you're using your waypoints, those points also get doubled as well. The next thing they talk about are the bandits and the pirates. And you can see the bandits right here, and the pirates right here. And the way those work, it's very simple. They score when they are placed next to the caravan or the trade routes. So if I were to place these bandits right here, I would score 1 point for being next to this caravan here. And the same thing happens with the pirates. When they are placed next to, I'll just place it just like that, a ship in a trade route, you score a single point for that. The second last thing is there are 2 new all land or all sea tiles. And so you have these to choose from anytime you actually kind of make that hole in the map. You have different things that you can put in there with different things on there. For example, this one has 2 ships or 2 caravans on it and 3 X's. This one has a city and 3 X's, and both have lots of coral and mountains. It also allows you to have more of those in the map should you be very, very good or very, very bad, depending on your perspective. The final scoring layer are called the menhirs. And those are these little Stonehenge looking guys right here. And the way they work are, when you place them on the board, you do your normal scoring. So in this case, I get 2 points for mountains, or Earth would get 2 points, I should say. And then nothing happens until there is a second one in a straight line away from it. So for example, like this right here. And again, I would get my normal points for placing that, or land would get their points for placing that. And then we look at the line in between the 2 and we count up all of the X's. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4. In between those 2, whoever placed this one here would gain 4 points. And I'll point out that should there somehow be a gap like this where there's nothing here, it doesn't activate until somebody comes along and places a tile in that last spot, like so. Then it would activate, and in this case, give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points to whoever placed that last one there. And that's all of the new stuff in this expansion. So what do I like about this expansion? The first thing is it takes a game that I really, really like, and it just adds more toys to play with. But part of the beauty, I think, of Land vs. Sea is you can calibrate it to however hard of a game that you want. You can just play the base with just islands and seas, have a very quick, light, fast, easy to calculate game. You can add in the X's, say the X's are only for the person where they're the sea that they're on, or you can play it where it's whoever places it down get the X's, which kind of adds a little bit of maybe I will close off that sea for my opponent, but that's going to give me a whole bunch of points and reduce their benefit. And then with the caravans as well. But then this adds several more layers, which makes the game that much more interesting, especially if you put all 6 in. We're actually starting to get to the point with the game to where you're going to have to start choosing what do you want to have in there. And that, I think, is really, really cool. Of course, I've buried the lead in that the art is amazing. This is one of the prettiest games I've ever seen, and it's funny. The things on these maps that you make are hilarious, and so many of them are actually based on old maps, the types of things that they used to put in maps. There's a bunch of Easter eggs in there about modern culture that you can find, and if you don't know what they are, it doesn't matter because it just looks really cool. It's beautiful on the board. It is adaptable to the size table you have. All of that I think is really good. Now, speaking directly to the new stuff, one, I love having those new starting tiles. It starts you out with a lot more places to go. I don't think I'll ever play without those again. It just really makes the start of the game crank up a little bit faster. I also love the menhirs. I love being able to try to work out the perfect line to drop one of those things down and boom, get a whole bunch of X's. And then when you combine that, the addition of all of the new special tiles that you can put in if you happen to get an area completely surrounded by land or completely surrounded by water is really, really fun and clever. Now, moving into the other things there, the second best, in my opinion, are the cities. One, they look really cool, but again, finding those and trying to get those into your islands or into your seas to double those points is super, super valuable. And it's the same when you're trying to get those in next to different trade routes, as you are kind of confident that maybe you can claim that trade route. It's just super, super clever the way that works. And that brings us to the bandits and the pirates, which I like, but I will say I think are the least interesting, because they're just a quick point that you have there, but also I actually have played a couple of games where they just didn't get used, and that happened to be the situation on the board. It was like, well, no, the other side of this tile is just better for me, or there weren't a lot of ships and caravans around to deal with, but still, it's a cool thing to have in there. There are so many games I've played where it came down to 1 or 2 points, so having that option, just throw that out there and get a point, while you're also connecting something else, is very, very cool. So what you're hearing is, I like all of the new stuff quite a bit. So what are my quibbles with the game? Well, first off, if you go check out my original video, any quibbles that I have there are the same. This is not an expansion that is going to take anything that made you not like the game originally and make you like it now. It's not going to change that. So anything that I said was a quibble then, still going to be a quibble now. But the only new quibble I have is, this does increase the length of the game just a little bit by, I don't know, 6 turns or 7 turns, something like that. And that's because you have extra tiles in there. So you have the extra tiles, which means you play until you're out of tiles. So the game is a little bit longer. And previously, the length of this game I thought was perfect for the complexity and the beauty of what you had. So now it's just a little bit longer. That's all I got. I got nothing else, because this, I think, is a fantastic expansion. It does pretty much everything that you could want it to do, and it even fixed the only problem I think the original game had, and I can't believe I forgot to show you this in the video, but the original game had no way to track when you looped around the score tracker. Well, now you do. You got your 50s and your 100s. And with some of these new scoring elements, it's actually really easy to loop around. The last time I played, I think I wound up with like 180 points or something like that. And it actually tells you in the book, try to get 200. So I haven't quite made it yet, but it's something that's there. But as I said, that's really it. I think this is a fantastic game. I believe it was number 3 on my Game of the Year list the year it came out. And it would still be really high on my list if it came out this year. It's a wonderful game, and I think this expansion does nothing but improve it. I think it's great. I love this expansion. This is immediately in the running for expansion of the year for me because it's just that good as an expansion. But there you have it, folks. That is Land vs. Sea Uncharted. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.